what I usually advise is at the beginning is the hardest. Some of you make it, some of you won't make it, and head back to corporate. But at the end of the day, when it comes to capital, the initial investors are always going to be your friends and family. If you are thinking you can go to an equity fund or venture capital to raise money, it's not going to happen. I'm giving you the reality. You have to prove yourself first. So you're in agriculture. If I'm a venture capitalist, the most important thing I want to see is your data. Without data, nobody's going to look at you. So you have to prove the value of whatever your product or your services are, because some of you might be in tech. You have to have the data to support it. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is they need to see that you have put money and sweat equity into it. Otherwise, nobody will look at it. I'll give you a good example. Uptel. Head of Uptel.
Yes.
The CEOs, they're good friends of mine. When they made their first millions, they were still taking trotro because they wanted to invest everything back into their business. They didn't have time to start living lavishly or everything, because at the end of the day, they wanted to own 100% of their company. You see what I'm saying? So that is the other reality. You can't live. If you walk into my office with a Mercedes Benz, and I tell you that you need to raise 100,000, it's not realistic. And I think that's the mistake a lot of people make. A lot of the historic brands and things, most of them started at their garage, their bedrooms. So that is the advice I have to give you, in the sense that when we started AnC Mall, it was just land. It's a family business. We had to put 100% of our money in. So before the banks and the venture capital came into the picture, it's when you don't need them. And that's just the reality of it. It's when you don't need the money, it's when they're now ready to give you the money. So not to put you off, but it's just to help you to deal with the reality, in the sense that once you've proven the value, you've proven the model, you have the data behind it, you've put in sweat equity and you put in your own equity, and it's been proven successful that all you now have to do is scale, then you're ready to talk to small SMEs. In this case, we call them SMEs, because the SMEs are typically investors that will deal with anywhere between 50 to 250,000. In some cases, mid-size, they can do up to $1 million. So they are coming in early and taking the risk with you. But the only time they will take a risk with you is you've proven it, it's making money. Your problem is you can't meet the demand because you don't have the capital to scale in anything, services, tech, anything. That's how you have to look at it. They have to believe in your vision, and you have to manage your finances. You can't go and give money you don't have. You see what I'm saying? Every dime you make has to be invested back into your company. If anything, they should be giving you money. Okay. That's why I said most major companies, Google, Facebook, most of them, the initial investors were friends and family. Majority of them. So they believed with entrepreneurship. Sometimes it's not about the product or the idea. It's about you. They believe that this person can achieve whatever they're going to do. So those initial investors, they don't see data or anything. They invest in you. And they're in their mind, they're willing to take the risk that if it doesn't work out, but because typically at that early stage, the amounts we are talking about are not huge. But when they stay the course, they gain. Most investment companies start with, or most startups, friends and if you remember Wodemaya's story, his initial investor was the Ethiopian.
Yeah, the one who bring the camera.
That gave him the camera. You see what I'm saying? That was a friend.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. So if your family and friends are asking you for money, it should be the other way. So when you get to a certain stage, what you call corporate governance, once you get to a certain stage in business, there are corporate governance and structures that have to be put in place. So even though I'm part of the family, I'm paid as an employee. You see what I'm saying? I have a role and as to what I'm supposed to deliver. I can't just say because I'm part of the owner, I can no. Then typically when you have a structured company, they could sit for 10 years, all the revenues and profits that are made is reinvested back into the business. You put in structures where after 10 years, if it achieves this amount, only 20% will be given as dividends. The rest, so those are structures that have to be because otherwise, this is the mistake a lot of family businesses collapse. They don't build those structures. So when the initial founder dies, everything is gone. You know our family structures. Multiple wives, multiple children, etc. So it just adds more complexity. So Africa has a big problem, but it's getting better. The best family-run businesses, because interestingly, family-run businesses worldwide makes up about 70% businesses. The best family-run businesses in the world is in Asia. There's a family business that has been running for 400 years, Japan. Wow. See what I'm saying? Wow. Generational wealth. You can't compete with them. You have 400 years. And you see, with the Asians, they're very structured. And because of their culture, because of their systems, they are able to adapt into that governance very easily. So worldwide, the Asian businesses have the longest generational family businesses in the world. Africa, but it's getting better because businesses are growing, families are growing, people are getting more adapted. When it gets to a certain level where the family business becomes $1 billion, then it's a family company that has to be set up. Because the more money the company makes, the more complex it becomes. So you now have to put in extra legal proportions. Because what you don't want is business should last longer than the family. And it doesn't always have to necessarily be run by a family member. It has to be run by the most competent person that is doing it for the family business. So Hilton Hotels, who owns a lot of brands, it's not the children running it. It's an enterprise, but they put in the right governance. Yes, the family sits on the board. Yes, the family has shareholdership. Yes, the family are involved, but it's not necessarily, because sometimes some of the children might not be interested in the business. They want to go and do their own business. But generational wealth, the family, the business outlives the family. But that is when the corporate governance happens. The systems. You just have to put systems in place. There's nothing wrong. So you have certain. So with family businesses, this is where governance comes into play. If it's a family business, that means their significant other, wives and things, have been part of the business. But it creates problems. So every family is unique in what their governance is. See what I'm saying? So if you don't have the systems in place, because if the family member does something wrong, you don't fire them. You know, another employee does something wrong and you fire them. But if you have the systems in place, family member or no family member, it's fire.
Biggest regrets.
So my last thing I'll leave you is, in business, there's no regrets. The biggest thing you have to learn how to do in business as entrepreneurs is fail. If you don't fail, you're not going to be able to evolve and find better solutions to it. Every entrepreneur has failed. That is the biggest, because we have this perception that, oh, it just happened, and next thing you know, they're making 10s and 20s. No, it doesn't work like that. They have failed for maybe 10 years, but kept improving on the solution, kept improving on the product to where they got it. The Amazon story, they made a loss for over 10 years. But during that time frame, because it started as a bookshop, online bookshop, but what is it today? It is an e-commerce giant. So they kept improving on the failures, finding solutions to the point now they are powerhouse. So if as an entrepreneur you don't know how to fail or accept failure, you won't succeed. So that's my last one.
Thank you so